points out of this engagement. And they can keep up that pace, and Chapek's getting that 9th place finish. They have an opportunity to just barely outpace Andretta's trio, who's been going really conservative. You can take a look at after Andretta's victory royale, that trio basically just kind of just averaged out the rest of the way. Low elims, decent placement, and if that continues to happen here in day 2, I think we'll see a back-to-back championship.
I'm liking how you mentioned the fact that they're getting, you know, these elims off spawn for free, basically. They're the only team to have multiple double-digit elims from yesterday, the 10+. So, you know, a big factor of that is these 3 elims off spawn that they're getting the chance to get every game and have, as you said, what, 6-1 so far right now? Like, they're looking real good off spawn. At the moment, it's a little bit more, you know, conservative approaching this fight. We see Knight, Vortex, and Hycris. I think they got the bunker chest. They have a lot of power off this POI, but Chapek, Sun, and Janus have a wide split. They had so many, a lot of access to so many chests. Hycris on the backside now. He's trying to look to go and engage on this trio, but at the same time, they have so many shields to pop and extras to hold on to, too. They will win this war, but it's about that.
Hold on, what? Well, hold on, let me look at the comment. Are you watching it or playing it? Playing it, bro. Nah, I'm watching it, bro. I'm not playing it.
It's too late.
I'm watching it.
Chapek's actually going for this. I mean, he's feeling himself. The bow and arrow close range, but not going to be able to hit that type of shot. Hycris and Vortex are just desperate right now over these builds. They're looking for anything. They need one big shot, but even then, look at the minis in Chapek's inventory. He has so many to delay this fight. Mats are the only thing. They have 5. They've made so much investment into making this big bridge, underground base, and goes back into another house. Chapek's follows. Vortex has no idea where he is. They're refarming again.
The big thing that Hycris' trio is holding on to is they did have a top 10 finish with about 7 or 8 elims. So they understand that if they're able to walk away, they'll be able to have a big game themselves.
And look at the trick that Janus, Hen, and Chapek's have done at this POI. They basically forced Vortex, Knight, and Hycris to go over to this left side. They used to have so much control. Janus staying back a little bit now has a chance for a big flank to actually corner these guys. They had complete control of the POI. Janus is going up, fighting 2 people by himself. It's Knight and Vortex. Chapek has to peek from down below. 5 builds left on Janus as well. He's going to try to run away, farm what he can as he moves inside a building. Yes, that's where you have the most protection. He's going to play sneaky like. While he attracts all the attention, this makes room for Chapek and Hen on the other side to go all the way up. This is a back and forth, and it looks like they have the reads on Hycris' trio.
It really doesn't matter what weapons are in the inventory here in this engagement. We've seen a gray makeshift shotgun get the job done. So you see that green makeshift normally in anyone else's hands, you'd be like worried, but look at it. It's going to be fine. They're setting up. Shy, break this down for us.
Yeah, right now, too, it's not only a war of HP and loadout, it's a war of resources. While Janus, I believe, was on the backside and used all his mats as a solo, when Hycris, Vortex, and Knight wanted to respond to him, all 3 of them had to use their mats to catch up. So they basically, look how many ramps are invested over here from all 3 players. They're losing this war on resources. Only Janus has basically used his mats right here. Chapek and Hen have been just farming up the whole time. We'll see how that goes. It looks like Cerebrally is going to be Janus' team that's winning right now. At Steamy Stacks, Andretta, Savage, Refsguard, they had their early game fight. Slender got taken out immediately from what I saw over there. It'll be free for those guys to keep moving on. Right now, it just looks like Knight is confused. I'm not sure if he knows exactly where these guys are. Janus was out of builds. Now he's almost up to back to 200-300. It's about these resources. Just keep watching them. They have so many to farm down here. And Knight up top, he can't drop down to farm. As soon as they drop the farm, Janus will hear that. They'll go back up. Their position is so strong right now.
This is a great defensive stance. In the previous engagements, when I looked at the VOD, they have the potential to flank. Hen really went all the way towards Pristine Point, almost, it felt like. He went that way, looped back around, and got some big beams in the back. So this is not an engagement that's going to be over just yet. You already mentioned Retail Row already having issues. We saw as well Weeping Woods, Save It going down in the feed. That's been a battle that's been going back and forth the entire time, with Save It having the upper advantage, but momentum is going to be the big factor going forward.
Yeah, and why is this happening? Why is it different from before? You know, the last game we saw Janus and Chapek go for an immediate fight, and it was scrappy. It's because of the psychology around it. Look at the zone on the left. They have zone at Craggy. They can really draw this out, and they've baited Hycris all day into this fight. They know they're not going anywhere. They know they've basically are living in their heads rent-free, Janus at least, and they're going to go for this fight no matter what to try to win it. They're down 6-1 as well. because of this, this is free surge tags for Janus. This fight will happen no matter what. And man, Vortex is getting antsy. They're already shooting shots down below Sancho. It really, right now, it seems like Hen, Chapix, and Janus are inside their heads.
The only time I've seen a disengagement here in the tournament is Hen's trio went to Flopper Island to disengage, to regain a little bit of resources, to regain a little bit HP, and then they came back and wiped out Knight. The thing that's going to be different here is that Tripper's trio that usually rotates into that little clip area hasn't been here just yet. Now they're rolling in. They're rolling in right now, and they're going to send beams, and we saw Chapix get beamed from that area here, and that could be just enough for Highcrest's trio to find that opening to get rid of Hen's trio.
Now, what Sancho's calling for is basically a third party of a different team on this left hill that comes in, and Uguay 74, that's Chapix, by the way, was on high ground. He was in the position of this opposite team, Vortex, the night before. He got beamed hard. I think these guys have learned from that. They're now playing low. There's no chance that third party team can actually shoot them. So they're actually sitting pretty, waiting for Knight to make a move, and they can't. Meanwhile, on other sides of the map, Lazy Lake always active, especially with Bad Sniper Marvin and SC. They've actually moved towards the center of the map off the POI, chasing a fight. Bad Sniper with the big shots on the Dementos. They're still going forward. This one's getting real scrappy too. I mean, Sancho, no one's holding anything back on day two.
Not at all. And Marvin's trio had their best finish in game 1 of this day here, which is 7 out of the 12. But this is just a messy rotation. This Southern rotation, I call it the struggle rotation, man. The struggle of the South right here that's happened real. Every time we've already seen it in game 7. Now in game 8, you're seeing all the kind of chaos that's happening. Jamside hasn't had a great tournament run because of this, and you already seen Pizza, who's just able to be a little bit better because he's able to rotate. But now Pizza is actually late rotating here, as you see Fast Rookie Art and Pizza on the backside of this engagement down in Gorgeous Gorge.
I've never seen people voluntarily go down to the gorge, let alone 3 teams to fight. So there's definitely something weird going on for their game strategies.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you know, what ends up happening in EU is they stopped saying, you know what, I'm done doing long-range Storm Surge tags. I want a box fight. It happened last season. They get up in people's faces. The more confidence is happening, it's like, we could beat these guys. I could hear Levin saying it in my voice. We could beat these guys, and we could take it to them. And that's what I think what it is. More importantly, I said it in the previous game, Shayo, it comes down to elimination points being 2 points. You get that value out of that. We've already been seeing the 6 points that's been helping out Hen's trio kind of bolt them up a little bit. They took over first place against Revsguard's trio. Wow, this is a stalemate. It's
that gorge is looking anything but gorgeous right now with all those teams in there and all the builds. While that happens,
gorge.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, they've almost even taken height over Percival. Actually, a misstep. Percival goes down, Tayson misses a ramp, and now he has high ground. That was too easy. And now he's on the chase down. Percival shaking in his boots, getting absolutely beast controlled. This is about to drop him in the box too. He's missing edits. What's going on here? All the way around, he has an infantry rifle. That's not good close range. Has to throw over to the pump and land a big shot, but it's only green. He's gonna escape all the way and make sure he finds his way back to his team. Bloom took big shots. Percival actually down. You're trying to go toe-to-toe with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. I get it. Bloom, Percival, Tomzy. They're also really good at these fights, but this is, you know, outclassed matchup right now. These guys are just working this trio, and it's good to go for these mid-game fights, especially when you're behind, and try to shake things up. It's also just so risky. On the same box right now, on the walls, they're just shooting pumps at it, not even swinging their pickaxes, and they get in basically unscathed. Tayson will be able to met kit up. Everything will look fine. What a fight. Masterclass of a mid-game fight there from 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate.
It looks like Bloomy's luck has run out of that trio. They've been avoiding that engagement down on the West Coast. They were always worried that they'd be taken out. That's what happens with the Sweaty Sands teams. But it looks like Tayson's trio is taking that engagement a little bit further. We've been seeing Bloomy and Tayson's trio all tournament long been competing for Central Zone and colliding. And right now, Tayson coming up top, who is trying to get a third FNCS championship. Now let's focus in here on Noah Riley. Reasons trio won game 1 of day 2 as well as last season. So we're seeing that they're creatures of habits. And now the changes, you're seeing the changes. They're actually boxed up looking for Storm Surge tags at distance. They're not moving. They're not in the car. They're not hunting. They decided to become more of a, I guess one of those like little spiders that chill in those underground traps, right? They're just waiting for people to walk on by to get some tags.
They're trying to switch things up completely. Meanwhile, Shadow is basically seeing the light absolutely erased almost. Stompy right, not gonna get beamed out of the air this time. He's looking good with peppers, but not finding a way to really help out his team. There's fire low ground too. Not really landing any shots on anyone through builds either. The Big Elam comes in, the Siphon finish, and now he's looking for more. Gonna pick up Shadow all the way up top, get that clutch. Revive, very nice. This is also just a very, very messy fight.
Very messy. The fire actually knocked their teammate. That's what happens when everything gets set ablaze. Wakey's going to go ahead and bring back Eyedrop into the fight here. This is actually another big fight because look at the inventory that Joe, Stompy, and Shadow have. Joe has so much shield, but at the same time, Stompy's trio has 4 peppers. And you know that's going to be a great win condition for Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. That is part of their game plan. They got a victory out by playing for height when the zone went down towards Holly Hedges Meadows, and they're blowing Storm Surge, and that's why they're taking this fight. But they open up that door and get greeted by some shots.
Dangerous for Joe. This man is a walking llama right now. If he gets taken out, golden tactical shotgun, you're talking about the bigs. He has so many. He has 3 still after using one. Like, you do not want to go down if you're Joe here.
You know this has to kill the deal, right? The feeling like they want to get down into that. They're so anxious. They're so HP thirsty. They want to get down there. Yeah, they want to get into that fight, but they're trying to slow down their ways. They're trying to slow down that temptation to get in there.
Stuff on both ends. People are definitely learning from yesterday. Every time a team went third party into a fight, didn't really come out with much and sometimes lost a teammate. So they're letting everyone just isolate and do their own thing. Like us, they're watching along and having a good time. Hope you guys are too. Endon is here now with Jaku as well. Crazy solo performances from Endon all across the season, and now he's looking to get into this fight close and personal as well. Some teams are still on that classic game plan of invade boxes, look for these aggressive tags, and most of them are also lower on the leaderboard. You were talking about it, Sancho. Elims are a dope way to make up, you know, some of the mistakes from yesterday, but yeah, is so risky.
Now we're taking a look at the rest of the board here as a Squeeze is being pressured by Kirachi here, and look, this Daisy, they're nowhere to be found. They've been not having this tournament run that we've all expected them this entire season. Has been just a more like a Hyde, or was it a Jekyll, you know, situation for them. They're just not the same French trio that we saw last season and the previous season before that. And Two's Kirachi, they have an opportunity to close out that chapter here and lobby that trio. I'm just flabbergasted, sir. Flabbergasted.
Red Rush Exteriors, Mappy coming through the first game, not that consistent, just 2 points in total on the day. They got to look to actually just, you know, make things up. When these center zones, I feel like that's where they struggle the most. It's so hard to stay invisible, be passive, go for beams. They're fighting Flois on the same box right now, but not going to really find much. He's going to build all the way up towards Kaiser. Down a teammate. Meanwhile, now this entire server is just devolving into box fights left and right. Even your former first place trio is fighting your current first place trio. Hengenis, Tapix, and 2 of them are down. These guys are leading the leaderboard over the cumulative 2 days. And their chances of getting points this game are running out. Flames ablaze around Chapix, and he's taking ticks over and over, down to 16 HP. There's nowhere for him to hide. Shots on all sides. Every single bullet you see go by is trouble for him. Be careful. Flick's on the other side, low HP too. He's walking through flames, not even affected. What is this?
Through the fire, and I don't think he's going to have a 9th place finish. No way. Not this game, considering that you have Indretta here that's trying to take that first place spot. You have Lanouf as well. This is the team that kind of lands at risky reels. And look at that. No. Storm starts going down, and Thomas HD gets taken out. And Nas is left by himself. And Indretta is now pushing Slicks. And Lanouf is just trying to back up his teammate here, and Anas is in a big shamble situation here. Storm Surge still ticking through, and Savage is going to look to clean that up. Takes it up and cleans it up. Now he's going to boost forward towards Chapix, and maybe Storm Surge is turned off. Maybe Chapix could breathe just a moment. Yes, he could breathe for a moment.
Yeah, Nas, Thomas, and Flick, they were the last team that had basically, you know, no surge tags whatsoever, no damage dealt on the map. That lightning was just striking them over and over. It took down Flick first. Thomas went away second. Anas could still not find any damage and goes down as the last player for the threshold. Aloof 6 and Marine is not going to be here, looking to also go across. And Dreda is just shooting them with stink bows. Now, that's actually another trio from the left side. Lanouf's having so much trouble moving in. Savage tries to relieve a little bit of pressure off from him because they're getting shot too. This is so tricky, and Zone is still moving.
Savage's weapon of choice in this tournament has been the Stink Bow. When I VOD reviewed, they would get into a little bit of the Storm Surge. They would get like a couple spaces in and turn and just rain down Stink Bows. He was basically crop dusting the entire lobby, man. It was just stinky. He was getting a lot of 5 HP tags all over the place.
It's quiet now across the map too. Everyone's kind of stopped. That surge gets everyone really, really active, pushed into boxes. Now they're looking for position to play out the rest of the game. Savage basing up with Andretta and Refsguard low ground. I'm not sure what happened last game, but Refs and Savage are basically taken out. Andretta had to clutch. Tapix is still alive somewhere, it seems as. Hasn't gone down, might even have the reboot cards. It's gonna be tough to revive everyone right here. The zone pulls left again, so Savage, Refsguard, and Andretta, it's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Chapix taken out by the Storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Refsguard and Andretta and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick Anas and Thomas Heishi we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at Zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster hit here for Game 8.
Game 2 on day 2. This is very similar to what happened yesterday. Game 2 actually went to the Orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game, but Andretta, Refsguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop. In terms of end game, this is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space. There's a game to win. It has to be theirs. On height, though, it's not Trulex this time just yet. Nate, Tayson, and ForZR are looking to have some control of the game.
ForZR, Nate, and Tayson, 3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, conservative play. Just get into the end game, just trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights. We all know that Tayson and ForZR and Nate, they're on the road to redemption. Tayson decided to switch out his teammates. He wanted a more serious trio mates in this back, someone who's going to grind with them. We're seeing the fruits of their labor right now, getting within striking distance of a championship. Nate, ForZR last season, of course, on the road for redemption, didn't really make it into the grand finals. We know that their finals is all about that. We thought they would be there. They weren't there. So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate and let everybody know that they still got it.
Definitely the most improved trio of the entire season. They're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone all the way just yet, at least not that half of the base. Gonna be praying and hoping that it pulls their way, but we'll have chances to move no matter what happens. Wakey down below, there's trouble inside a little bit of those lower tier boxes, lower ground bases. People are going down left and right. Exterio's taken out. Alpha having trouble, and then taken out by Noah Riley as well. These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Snazy brought back his teammates. Snazy brought back that team. And wasn't he all by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, Excuse was a solo. I guess they brought everyone back. Yeah, okay.
Run. Okay, they're not.
Big reboot came through, but no matter, they were coming from the south side. They must be exactly where Noah Riley is too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation, and builds are burning at the same time. You cannot cross that ground. Noah Riley will have to go around. And Alexis Snazy, yeah, I guess the reboot came through in the Spire or Boney Burst. Yeah, they'll actually end up playing out the full game. That's clutch from X-Squeeze. Meanwhile, near the river, this is where patience is tested. Safik and Siberia haven't moved just yet, and they have the longest and toughest rotation with a team beside them.
They've been coming from Coral Castle, and for them to actually finish day 1 in around 15th place is already a feat in itself. They solved the puzzle of Coral Castle. For the longest time in the FNCS, no trio has really found success. They found some success. Just to paint a picture, last season, Kenzel, alongside with Waking Deceptos, finished in 30th place coming out of here. If Safik and Siberia could finish as a duo, that would be a great run, but look already what's happening. Noah, Riley, and Reason and the Deal have become a hype team. They stopped buzzsawing the lobby, and now they're flying high in the sky.
You're telling me Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason
I would never heard
over 8 hours after sleeping learned patience? That's insane.
That's a
they really want to win. They want to come back. Remember, Sancho, first and then down to 16th after 6 games. They're trying to climb their way back up. Their 10th place right now on the cumulative leaderboard. They're looking to rise higher and higher. Here is who is in their way: Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby, and it looks like they have a little bit of advantage on zone. Just like yesterday in game 2, this team took control of height. They tried to pop off. They could not clinch the game. This time, they'll try to do it once again, but they have an entire Titan to take down. It's not free for them. They have to get through Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
How is Reason's trio going to be able to handle this? Trulix does have a pepper here. Are they going to go ahead there, look for the chop? We've seen Trulix's trio get chopped before in a phenomenal way by Vidil's trio themselves. In game 1, they chopped them out, and they were able to take height and the Victory Royale. So they're clashing again. Just look at this run, Shio.
Oh, Reason! I think he got hit by a bow from Trulex. They're screwing from the backside. There's so many teams moving over. This is huge for Trulex. He goes up. Yep, 173 damage above. It must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Queasy all the way up top. Meets over to Trulex. Look at how much this costs, Sancho. No shields in Trulex's inventory. Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have height. A deja vu of day 1. Can they actually end up finishing the game, though?
They need the resources to hold on. Day 1, they couldn't hold on to height at all. They kept losing it here around zone 7. So they have to keep an eye on the backside. Let's see who's second from height. They actually have Andelix and Snazy, but they already lost a trio mate. So I don't know if they're going to take it here. So that focus has to be down on the low ground. Savage and Dreda, Refsguard, they have an opportunity to get the Victory Royale. The question is, they're down the soft mat. So if they can find an impact refresher, get that frag, get back some builds and hard mats, they can walk away with their game 2 Victory Royale again.
Ooh, what a risky rotate. They go all the way in. No builds whatsoever. Here's the refresh opportunity. Big shots from Savage. It's huge. They do get one body. Fully eliminated. The mats are back in the inventory. Savage, though, has none. Can't build any ramps. Can't do anything. Can't defend himself. Twos with the shots. He actually dodges them left and right. Savage is rolling, and Refsguard finds him. They're both going to be together. Refsguard must have the builds. They're in old mats. It's looking good. Payson down in the feed. Savage, Refsguard, and Dreda. They're at home right now. This is their zone. They can win this game, but they need materials.
The materials are running low, but at height as well, the materials are running out. And Dreda's trio is in second place. FourZR and Tayson in 4th place. They're making the way, but look, their materials is running low as well. Pressure coming from height, pushes them down to the low ground. And it's a very dangerous layer to be on. FourZR with 3 eliminations, 12 HP, knocks Mr. Savage, stops that trio right in their tracks. FourZR on the track for redemption here, is barely alive, and is going to have to go to the medkit play and hopefully catch someone else on the backside of the storm.
Does he have it down to 2 HP? And yes, he picks it up. A stop sign on the highway of low ground. FourZR keeps his chances alive in this game. Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy, though, on height. They're still alive, and they're looking real good. They might not have too many materials, but they have a chance to do a lot of pressure down. It's somewhat of a bounce back zone, so they don't need to do too much over here. A chance for a breather. Their Elam's looking good, 2-5 so far. Floki, though, is still on low ground. A very dangerous trio to go head-to-head with in the end game. Hadi alive, sniped down by Lanoof. So many different teams down below that are so good at these high-pressure situations. Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky have a big task ahead of them, and another misthink that might cost them a lot in the end game.
This is where it gets sketchy for them as they make their way down. Neb's going down. Floki, you already said it. A very nightmarish trio to deal with here. Trulix has 2 floppers, 2 med kits. He's going to be the man that's going to be sitting on the high ground and sending him much pressure. Clement Deceptos are still there. Waze is already going in for the med kit. He's coming in for the backside of Storm. Waze gets Gariachi, gets knocked, and that's what happens when you do the flopper pay. You get the angles to send the beams on through. Floki, Deceptos, and Clement, they don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement, hold on, and Clement responds with the elimination.
3v3, and this time Queasy can't choke. Trulex looking up high, almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to redeem themselves from mistakes yesterday. They want to make up the whole leaderboard as well from what we saw before and yesterday. 2 Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky are looking for the drop down. 2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trulex has the insurance. He has to go below. I think he might be the last one left here. One more flopper, and these guys are still in zone. It's too early, but he has the angles. Trulex gets it all the way in the end game. The same zone from yesterday. They win it out. They're looking glorious today, Sancho.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VODs to see like, yeah, man, we had height this many times. If we just clean up a couple of things, we just hold on, we get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground, we could win more games. And they just got their first victory out here in day 2, Shio.
Yeah, but FourZR, so many low ground teams going down to that zone. It's uncharacteristic. That was a very, very tough game. We have to toss it back to the desk to break it down and show us what we missed.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, High Ground Kings. You know, if you ever look High Ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's gonna be them forever. Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the casters kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc, right? They're like, yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're gonna show up big.
Yeah, and I think like that storyline is so true for indeed Reason, Vidil, No Riley as well, right? You got to think winning that first game, and then it looked like it was going to be their game 2 again. Taking height so early in that 5th zone, they committed so much to it, but again, it ended up being a little bit too much because Queasy, their team is so good at focusing high ground. We've seen this all through yesterday. I'm trying to think if there was a game where they haven't been on height ever in their history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like, how's the weather down there, boys? You know, it was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory royales a lot of the time, and that was a real issue. You know, we know this is how they play. You look at Queasy and Trulex historically throughout multiple Fortnite seasons, they opt to play high ground. This season, right, Jerky's been a spark for them. You saw Jerky when they were taking out, he took the Germans down, right? No Riley, they wiped them out, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it was really great play, and they held out height, and they was able to convert into a win. More of these, and they might sneak into contention, guys. I'm calming down a bit, but it's possible. It's always possible.
Look, Martin has taught us, right? Anything is possible. It just depends on how you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game, game number 1, because we saw a little bit of a heel off that was a little bit of a flub.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to 1, Thomas and Nas on high ground, very similar to this last game we watched with Queasy on high ground, setting up the heal potential here with Reason down below on the low ground. Now, one of the things we want to keep an eye out is, look, Thomas HG's just taken a tick to zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit's inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit to stay alive a little bit longer in the zone. So notice he keeps going forward, but this is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing, you notice, again, after harvesting that, 2 builds. 2 builds remaining only. So this is also why Anas has to drop down, because he has absolutely 0 here. So he uses those 2 builds right here, and notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Will this allow Reason on low ground not to be able to see him? But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how unfortunately it ended up going for him. So now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets an ass dropped into his box and hits a huge shot. But this edit that he's made on the right-hand side here is beautiful, because he has a right-hand peek on Anas, who is on the other side, and Anas can't see him at all. And this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look, 5 HP, and the elimination goes through. And then we said, playing on high ground with the medkit too far to the back with not enough time, and unfortunately he ends up being eliminated. But let's see how that last game also kind of transitioned onto these standings.
Gut-wrenching finish there, Reese. Looking at the standings though, still on top of the board, Refsguard and Dre and Mr. Savage, we got to watch them a bit, and they do look like, you know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here, though, is Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky shooting all the way up into second now, and they are closing that gap. Zeke, you know, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions at the end of today.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be not only them in the running, though, because Refsguard and Dress Savage, huge game for them. Forzy, Artase, and Nate, too. Look at the difference between first all the way down till third, and we can't count out Hen, Janice, Chapix, too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
This is only game 2. Look, you guys know that I stress. I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition to the very end. I'm super down. But once again, man, Queasy and his trio, I don't understand why people are just allowing them to be up there. Just stop them from getting high ground. They're going to close out games if you let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now, and it's just like whoever finds that window to attack, they're gonna close it out. But okay, I know, Zeke, I know it's game time. We're jumping back into the action. This is game number 3 on the day, aka 9 of this series. Let's get into all the action.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You got to think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast, it says, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments. But so far, Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are flipping that table, putting it on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day 1, they had high all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales. And they most likely decide, you know, we just got to cheer up the defense. We have to make sure the backside is being protected, because that's all the time they have been happening, is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from a flank with just normal builds. And that's what's so fantastic about this meta, is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launcher to kind of come up in there to take it away from you. So we're seeing what they can do. Now, the question going forward, as we're going to get into the later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping Woods already, the Save It battle versus Blaster is still continuing there, is who is going to change up their kind of strategy. And when they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here, Revscar getting knocked in midair, this is where it gets dangerous, because as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. We saw it in Season 4 when Mongrels Trio was being, all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in Season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day 1. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Revscar? And it looks like Elocrass and Hottie and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indreda's trio.
They're hunting for Revscar too. I don't think Indreda's going to be able to go back and pick him up. He's hiding under a bridge though, so those free mats might be tough to find. For Hottie's trio, they're actually looking directly under it. They understand how far refs can actually crawl. Meanwhile, another trio goes down on the other side of the map. I'd have to imagine that's either Retail Row or Craggy Cliffs. There's so many big fights going down in Retail between 2 ex-teammates as well. It's so, I would say, sad to watch, because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's Wolfie's fighting it out, or Slender actually fighting it out with Kiko on that side. But as we look at Craggy, it might be a 2-man operation for this trio, although they're working really well to get to end game. There's always this clutch. We saw Savage try to do it in one of the games yesterday. We had Indreda in that last game survive as this trio went down and get all the placement towards the very end, and at least one more moving zone. They're gonna have to clutch again as a duo this time, starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Shayo, is patience. Patience is showing what patience could work out to, being consistent, just trying to work their way in, net a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up the pace. And we have to say, will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom right of your screen, will that patience hold on? It's going to be tested. Every time they see a box fight, every time they see anyone rotating out in the open, that is going to be like, do we box dive in? Do we go back to our old ways? Because, you know, habits are hard to break. You know what they say? It says it takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world, it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's your new habit for the rest of the way.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio, they're looking real good so far. Meanwhile, though, Craggy Cliffs, it looks like Janice Chapix actually end up going down starting off this game. It might be an off-spawn scenario. It might have been a third party completely. But, you know, we're talking about emotions. They have to be emotional after that one. They're slowly falling behind these 3 teams, Jerky, Tayson, and Savage, game after game. They've now gone all the way down to 4th place. Used to be up top near 1st. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex Knight. I don't see Hikers just yet. That might have been the cost of the fight. Are going to be here, surviving for this game, and inhibiting Chapix and Janice from getting any points.
The mental of our defending FNCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only 1 engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil's trio got taken out by Hens Trio in that $100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation, and that's where it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just a halfway point here in day 2, and we are already seeing like all the Savage fans are High-Chris fans right now, right? All the Hin fans are like the Tripper fans right now. They're all just hoping that the other can like drop spot fights go the opposite way. And wow, this is the FNCS.
Think about the ramifications of that off spawn. Now we have a trio in 30th place who's allowed to end up playing this entire game, right? Usually boxed out by a higher team. In terms of Hycris, Vortex, and Knight being in 30th, being inside an end game, you might not be thinking totally of the comeback. You might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks, going just completely for the win, not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's going to be dangerous for everyone else. This game might be a lot more trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So it's worth them to throw everything at the wall, throw that spaghetti, see if it sticks, because we're talking about a couple commas and zeros every time you move up that leaderboard.
Yeah, but they're going to be working against the grain, right? For people like Kiriachi, like 4-0 we saw right now. You talked about it, Sancho. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan, and it's working. For trios like Hycris, like Vortex and Knight, they don't care about patience. This is the first time they get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going through fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot of love on the broadcast, but it just seems like every FNCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panning shot in game, like, oh, hey, look, Stormy, they're there, right? They're there.
Yeah.
You just keep repeating their name. They're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was in day one. And they're still keeping up that same set of pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Kiriachi 2s are playing around, they survive. They make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing, though, I feel like, you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it, though, and actually